And welcome back to Wigo. Wigo. Is it Wigo?
Wigo. Is it Wigo?
Is it Wigo?
I haven't seen you in a while. You've been all over the show. I've been to the Cannes Film Festival. Has been to LA. Okay, I've since seen you, but you've been all around the world.
Yes, and also obviously the unfortunate situation with my mom. She passed away.
Condolences once again.
2024 has been a bit hectic, right?
It's been tough. So thank you for being here today.
No, anything for you. I love us. I couldn't wait to do this.
Absolutely.
And I mean, like the elections have just happened. I mean, can you believe I landed on election day, and then after the voting, I had to go straight to the hospital to my mom's deathbed. So it's been quite
very,
something.
You know what? It's very sad for me.
Yeah.
In terms of your mother and your stories and her voting and exercising her right to vote.
It was.
It's surreal.
It is. I think the surrealness is it's almost like movie-like.
Yes.
Especially because when I was coming from Cannes, and I had just met someone. I mean, can you imagine? I was smoking a spliff at the Mondrian lawns with Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones. So I mean, and he's like, yeah. So I
hope he's okay with you outing him.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about Rolly and all. Rolly.
Okay.
I mean, tobacco.
Okay.
Come on now.
All right. Vanilla flavor.
What did you think?
Vanilla flavor.
So all those experiences, like just one of them. There was many that happened there, and having to be told you've got to jump on the plane, you've got to go to the hospital straight into Cape Town. All of that just blacked out. That just didn't matter. So it's only now in the past month and a half that it's all surfacing again. So I'm like, wait a minute, didn't it? And then I'm getting messages and like, oh, did we still have that meeting? So now all of that is unearthing again, and with my mom's spirit backing it. So watch the space. A lot of awesome stuff is in
space. What do we have in the Wigo space today? What are we talking about?
You know what? I thought, because the last time we spoke, it was all about the lead up of how is this country going to be. And funny enough, when I was overseas, the perception people have about us, and when you're sitting there like a little fly on the wall.
Tell me.
Dude, it is so bizarre. Like, they really have warped ideas of what we are doing over here.
Okay.
And I think,
Warped in which?
Warped in that some people have no idea what we're doing over here. They don't even have a clue what's going on, especially in LA. But in France, I found it very interesting that they're like, why aren't we better off? Why aren't we what we're supposed to? And then the attitude is almost now like a little kind of like, when you get there, okay. But I must say, we did a very.
Where do we want to get?
Our potential as a country, and I think that we did a very great job as the South African delegation with the NVF. When we had our stand and everything, really top notch, really engaging at the prime spot in Cannes, at the market. I think we really engaged with the festival, quite for me, high level, high standard. So kudos to everybody who did that. Well done, and especially as actors and as filmmakers as well. It's very important that we also get an understanding of how we are being looked at over there. Are we being taken seriously? You know what I mean? And I'd love to say that it looks like we're on that road to being taken more seriously than what we thought is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But no one's holding their breath.
But do you think there's some truth in them asking, so where are you guys at? You should be there on the continuum that you're over here.
You see, this is
what does that have to do? What does that tell us?
I think it might be just what they sold on the media about our governance, and a lot of people don't really get a one-on-one to explain to what's actually going on here, especially with our history. So it's just kind of like foggy, really, and I just felt like it was nice to be able to, like, people like, oh, so that was South Africa. And it's so funny because everybody in France keeps on saying, they're French assholes. They're fucking assholes. Yes, they're so moody and whatnot. So I'm like, for real? Since I was there, every French person that I encountered was so lekker because I'm like, I said, yeah, I heard you guys are muted. Like, what do you mean? So I think somehow I just transmuted the engagements. And even when I did meet the frumpy ones, I'd be like so fascinated. I was like, wow, you just like the movie. So they end up like, no, what are you talking? You like the postcard. And then they actually turn and then they're like, oh, you're funny. And then so I really had a really different time when I was there, and I really enjoyed it, very much so. But going back to the elections, landing here, going into the elections, the queues, we went to the Baptist church to go and vote. Then in Wilmington.
I had to go to Grassy Park.
Did you go to Grassy Park, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And it was interesting because there, where in Wilmington, where we were, close to Century City, it's a real diverse community. You get the Century Citians, you know what I mean? And then you've got the Milnerton, the Tinners, which come from this side. Yeah. Then you've got the Sandrift Easters.
Yes.
So like, and there's a very big margin of poor, lower.
It's Brooklyn.
No, that's far.
Okay.
No. We're keeping it into the center of close to Summer Greens.
Okay.
That's that area. And there's a bit of like, middle class, upper, this is lower, and streaking a little bit. So, and then you've got the big rich people. So everybody in that queue.
The big rich people.
Yeah, the big rich people. So in that queue, because of where the area is, you've got like the guys who are pushing Jaguars, and you've got the guy there who had to catch a taxi.
That's awesome.
And they're white. They're both white. It's crazy. And then obviously the Pan-Africans, whatnot. And there was just I felt a sense of a new air, but then also an unfamiliar one. So when I say new air, it's like, okay, we know we need to change. But the unfamiliar is like, what, how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
So then I really called out, and I'm sorry to say it, some people, and I was saying, I've got a feeling you're all going to vote for the same people you voted for before. I'm saying it. You're all going to vote for the same people. And I just kept thinking, I'm not going to tell you what I voted for, but, we strive for change. So... And now
I voted for the same people.
I told you. I told you. Right?
Yeah.
So all of that hullabaloo, what was the point of it? Do we really want change, or are we just okay with the devil we know? So tell me.
I don't know if it's me being okay with the devil I know.
Right.
And I'm still not saying who I voted for.
Yeah, of course.
In the end. For me personally, it really... I was very skeptical before the elections, and I think you know this. I was
we spoke about it. Yeah.
We were even talking about the DA, we were talking about the conspiracy. Whoops. The conspiracy theory about land or takeover by the US, I don't know, State Department. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Also at the time, I think I was professing that I was not an expert and that I'm not an expert on the matter. There was so much happening. There was my irritation with the Patriotic Alliance, with Caitlin McKenzie and with Kenny Kunene at the one point. That's dichotomy, the thing I have with especially Caitlin, and also him being the Minister of Sport and Cultural Affairs.
Well, let's give him a chance.
Of course I'm giving him a chance. This is what this conversation is about. No, of course I'm giving him a chance. He said a lot of cool stuff.
Right.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Some of them really community oriented. Focused on the community. Bringing the underdog in. I think a lot of artists initially were going, so why spinning? I mean, is that the first thing you're going to tell us? You're going to make spinning a sport? Obviously, there are underdogs that have been left out in the cold. So yes, Gaten is going to do that. And I also think that there is a certain drive in this individual, and that if he says he's going to do something, I think he really tries his damnedest. Also considering that some of our new ministers in the GNU, the Government of National Unity, considering that they came and they... Hoe sê Afrikaanse spreekwoord, the idiom in Afrikaans, nuwe besems weer skoon. And I feel that's what they came in and did. Even Mulder. Same thing. Came into correctional services. Yes, raid the prisons. And raided more than once in your tenure. Do you get what I'm saying?
And you'll be surprised what you see.
Yes, and then you get Gayton coming in and with lots of, I guess,
gusto.
Yes, and also lots of, I think, negativity, thrown out towards him. I think also as a person, maybe not even as the minister. What the biggest issue for me is, all that said, and you know what the funny thing is? I haven't met Mr. Mackenzie yet. Oh, how dare I? The Honourable Minister Gayton Mackenzie. I haven't met him yet. I have a feeling I'm going to like him.
You've got a feeling?
Yeah, and it's a pity because, his whole stance on what is happening with the Israeli occupation and the genocide, that is essentially what a lot of artists are saying, that they know they have to give him a chance. Some of them are saying this. He needs a chance. He needs to do the work.
Show us
our
results.
Previous minister, Nati Ntetwa, as far as I'm concerned, where I'm sitting, didn't do much. Maybe it did, but it never translated. It never came to me.
No, especially somebody who I believe is one of the anchors and furnishings of the industry.
So, back to Minister.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to like him. It's just such a sad pity that he feels that there is no genocide happening in Palestine. That is sad.
I'll reserve my opinion on that.
You can reserve your opinion.
Because I think there's a lot of people who are frustrated about that standpoint, and so verbal and public about it, and especially in a country that stands for the...
And if you look at our theatre industry, also a big portion of it came from protest theatre. If you grew up in the 80s, 70s, myself, I was part of that old protest theatre movement. Through school, through Manburg Highway, I was at the time in the 80s. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of protest. That was the anti-apartheid protest, obviously. Yeah. That was the biggie. But at the same time now, from where I'm standing, this is a fight against another apartheid regime.
Right.
It's
100%. Yeah.
So it makes it difficult as an artist then to know that
fully
the person that my president appointed does not. Yeah. But this is a democracy. Yeah. Bheki.
Wow.
Bheki. Oof. This is a democracy. We all have a place.
And that free speech,
we all have a place and a space. Oh. And even the minister has a space. So, and I'm going to go out there and say we have to give him a chance,
So this is now where the dichotomy begins.
Yeah.
I would say.
How interesting is it that we're talking about the GNU, but the first person I speak of?
Do you think that was maybe a planned thing? Do you think that might have been a planned thing?
I don't know. I just think that
because of his loud positioning of
maybe loud positioning, but also I think he's not scared to say.
He's drowning out most of the other ministers in terms of their, I would say, higher ranking departments that they're looking after in their ministries. He's the one who's getting lots of focus, and I wouldn't say it gets a third of the budgets that come from the treasury. So interesting. I wonder why.
They never mention. In the budget speeches, the SONA speeches. I've never really heard a president mention the film industry. Maybe along the way. Maybe when
like Salt Bay. Like Salt Bay.
You know what I mean? I've never really heard.
Yeah.
About our industry, about our gains, about our goals. I always have to wonder whether government does share the artists' long-term goal. Which is longevity and
like to
a sustainable economic model for everyone.
Right.
Because that idea of romanticized artists living on love and fresh air and I'm such a poet and I don't even know it. No, that's all that. Nowadays,
it's 2024.
No.
Do you know how expensive electricity is?
No, exactly.
So,
and that is why it is important.
So when he said on the news, and look, we're still gravitating around him as a topic. It's crazy. When he said,
you're talking about the GNU.
Okay, so he said the NVF and was talking about the film industry, and he said if you're getting 125 bar. Where's the blockbusters? Where's the movies? What? That's when I was like, now I'm listening because that's what we asking over here. Yeah. So hold on. And then I sat like this. Answer the man.
Yeah.
Because some of us are filmmakers and we'd love to know where that money's going. Because we're not getting any.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, we're not getting any. Let's be honest.
And I would want to say, I don't want to come across like I'm complaining, but I am.
No, it's not. It's not complaining. It's just observation.
It's observation.
You're observing.
And I mean, it's funny. I don't want to say too much because we know there's ears. We're not ears and there's flies on the walls that listen.
There will always be flies on the wall from someone who's been in this industry. There will always be gatekeepers, people that keep you away. And I'm not referring.
Yes.
It's no referral to your journey, but my journey.
Yes.
So that will always be there.
So
which is, it's kind of disgusting, but it's unfortunate that some people.
Where are the billboards? Where are the hits? And if you're gonna say Tsotsi, and if you're gonna say District 9, and if you're gonna say Chappie, if you're gonna say, do you see what I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like this is, come on, let's get accountability, and then also let's give other people a chance. Or is everyone too scared?
So are you saying it's the same people that get the money?
That's what the whole thing is about. Yeah. And I'm gonna leave it there.
You can leave it there. I mean, it's a difficult situation. I mean, it's a space that we both work in and that we both inhabit and negotiate, navigate, I think, daily. So, but it's good that one acknowledges that there is something wrong within structurally.
Yes, and then bringing in the politics within it, or having to navigate through the politics within it, and still trying to maintain a sovereign, creative space, and still run a business. It's very, very, very tricky.
I find that over the years, that is where my independence come in. That I kind of just go as an independent. I do still end up in the end doing what it is I want to do, like with the Baxter Zabalaza program, with that development program, TCAS. I still get what I want to do, and because I cannot provide the infrastructure, because they been done in so many times.
Yeah.
It's not the purpose of this discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, am I making sense here?
Yeah, of course. You found a way to navigate.
Yeah.
And your compass has allowed you to tap into all the things you actually wanted to accomplish and do.
Yes.
Even though you could still upscale it, but you could still get to.
But that's the thing, and that the dream is always to upscale it.
That's the thing. The upscaling.
You have to be able to upscale it.
You check. So that's where I think politically kicks in, because if the gatekeepers per se, as an example, which you mentioned, are the ones that are filtering the funds that are coming from Treasury into the thingy, then upscaling becomes an arduous process. You know what I mean? You're not getting helped up. You're having to push up a boulder, and then others are getting escalators. You know what I'm saying? So that for me is a big fundamental plateau in the upscaling issue that needs to be addressed for people who are ready to upscale but cannot because of
not diverting, but stuck to the elections. So what do you feel about MK, EFF, and that whole not going to form part of the...
I'm going to tell you what I think. I'll tell you one thing that I figured out through neurolinguistic programming, and this is it. I listen. The ruling party, I believe, it's in its interest to see who out of this new crew they can manipulate quickest, number one. Number two, that's one strategy. That's what they are. You can't expect a thief to walk into church and not look at everybody's purse just because he's praying to God for the first time with all the other congregation. You're still looking at your purses. You're kidding me? In church, bruh. So that's them. So now, I believe that they like when I heard on the news, just this now out, the GNU now finally finding its feet. Everybody seems to be working in cohesion. And I'm like, I call bullshit. Do you know why? Because I know in that office they're gonna say, hey Masibugo,
It's rather, let's keep arguing. I'll stab you in the alleyway, ne? Mara, let's make sure that the public thinks we are working together. That way, we can fight in peace and elongate the situation, because if it looks like it's falling apart, this country's gone.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing, they all know this thing is doomed. So rather now, let's play the fiddle and keep the masses in check. And by that in itself, they have just taken part in what we were trying to kick out in the first place.
It's interesting what you're saying.
That's how I saw it.
Because give it another, and that's why I think the DA is going to try and play devil's advocate when it suits them, and destabilize the get along gang, because they all know that they're gonna all get the mark of the beast as the moment they start.
The DA or Ellen Ziller?
All of them are gonna get the the whole thing is going to be mark of the beast the moment they all agree to portray through the media that they are working in unison and everything. We found our feet now and we are all within a united front. Meantime, behind closed doors, they all fucking... Hey, please guys, let's not be fools here.
Okay.
And you can see it through the party the reps, when they all have their separate interviews, and they say, they ain't saying what you just said when you're all together. Go fuck yourself. Sorry. That's what it's
okay. It's just your cat. William's coming out.
Sorry. So that's how I felt about it. And I know you didn't see that coming, but that's how I feel this is going to go in the next few months. What do you think?
No, I mean, I was interested in the beginning. I was skeptical, but then but maybe sometimes I'm such a pessimist and sometimes I'm an idealist. I know it's
a bit of a paradox.
I know, but that's why. And then initially I was skeptical, and then later I was like, I think I give it a chance.
Okay.
That's what I told myself. Let's see where this is going, because something had to give. Someone had to work with someone in the end. That's why I saw it, And obviously, some people did not think the ANC would necessarily end up working with the DA, or the DA would necessarily end up with the ANC, or even, let's say, the Freedom Front Plus would work with the ANC, etc., etc., etc. So I think a lot of people may have felt a bit, well, not a bit, some people felt betrayed, but it always happens after elections and a coalition government. This is not our first coalition government, is it? And it always happens where people feel betrayed.
So, do you feel betrayed?
I don't.
And in what regard? And in what degree? Don't. In what degree? There must be a degree. Definitely.
I don't know if I feel betrayed.
Misled?
A little.
Okay.
Yes. But you will always.
You know me, completely betrayed. Completely betrayed. I got the whole fucking shovel. You know.
But it's the space.
Can I ask you a question? When I saw that the ministers that were divided within the ministries, did you not find it interesting how when Helen Ziller put out there before they put their placements in, and she put the list of which ministries they wanted, Treasury, Agriculture,
Home Affairs.
Home Affairs. Wait a minute. So this country has just fought for this land back, and now when I just saw who just got Mr. Steen, he's the Minister of Agriculture. Did these blacks just give the land back to the whites? Wait. Sorry guys.
That is it. That is what it's meant.
Did we just give them the passport, which is Home Affairs, and give them the land? So we gave them the ticket box to get into the land. Both tickets,
Yeah, but that ultimately is what would happen with the government of national unity.
Do you not see how problematic that could be?
It could be problematic, but nobody won an outright majority. So for us to make this work, some parties have to
come in.
Fortunately or unfortunately, for
and there was no other option.
Have to work together. I don't know if there's another option.
Was before the election, option. Before I went to Cannes, France, and it was all pulled up. Remember that episode? There were things being thrown about if they lose the majority, what could happen, and then who could actually lead it on its own without a coalition. Was there another way?
And also
up to the lead up, what do you think? Was there another way? But this.
Were we doomed to this?
You know, it was such a complex space at the time, I think. Politically.
You can feel my pain.
And also, I think some people were totally against South Africa and the ICJ case against Israel. Some were for it. So that for me already, there was a big rift. And I'm wondering to what an extent the Palestinian crisis influenced our elections. According to MEC Minister McKenzie, not the same McKenzie.
Okay.
From the Democratic Alliance, there was absolutely no shift really in
you see what?
No, what he said is Muslims went out and voted for the Democratic Alliance in their droves, but that has since been
debunked. Would you say debunked?
Possibly debunked in that the guys...
It was not a fact. It wasn't a fact.
Well, I watched the podcast with ulama, which really are Islamic scholars, local Islamic scholars who then had this conversation and this discussion as to, and according to them, they don't necessarily believe that was the case, that Muslims necessarily voted for the DA. I know of Muslims who did vote for the
a few.
So I've just learned that not to judge anyone. I just cannot do that anymore. I think that is the problem. Is judgment. I'm talking about because you voted for a specific party. I'm not saying judgment, saying there's no genocide in Palestine. No, there is a genocide. You get what I'm saying?
You can't
but
deny.
We become so opinionated that, it's...
That's what you think it's going to fire.
In some ways I feel it backfires.
Yes.
The truth backfires, unfortunately.
Backfires. And
some.
then it waters things down, doesn't it?
Yes, and
then
I think that's my problem.
That's a very interesting thing you just touched on. It's like a nerve, like a toothache that comes and goes.
Yes.
That's one day, because I feel like people kind of shied away from the reality that after the ICJ had made the motion of guilty, nothing happened. So it was like, yeah, you're guilty, you stop it now. We said stop it, you're guilty. Okay.
Yeah, wow. Who called it the distraction? Someone in the UK politics called the ICJ case, South Africa's case they brought against Israel, a distraction.
A distraction. So they can continue. That's clever propaganda.
Listen, I'm watching this clock and it looks like our time is pretty up.
Wow. And it's always such a pleasure to come in and we just explode into the time just goes nowhere. But guys, the same goes for you. Don't forget, we're here at WGO. We go and hit the like button, subscribe,
Thank you.
And make sure that you leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the lead up to the elections. And and what do you think about the state of affairs? But yes, peace.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Check later. Bye-bye.